Hello, I'm Derek and welcome to Inflatable SUP Authority. Today we will be doing some on-water tests of the Thursosurf Expedition 150. I'll be letting you know my thoughts on stability, maneuverability, speed, as well as tracking. And I will be using other touring boards to gauge this board's performance. Stay tuned. Just some impressions from me paddling on my knees here. The board has pretty decent speed actually. The tide is coming in a little bit and the wind is a little bit against me. This thing seems to be doing pretty good. Like I'm looking, especially me compared to the shore. And it's paddling at a decent pace. So far so good. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for, time to stand. So we put our paddle like this, and we're up. Oh yeah. You definitely feel that this is a bit of a touring board. It has a little bit more play on each side. The board is definitely a little bit more sensitive compared to if you were to paddle, let's just say, an all-around board. Reminds me a little bit of the Nixie Manhattan G4 Plus. It is 31 inches wide though, so it has similar measurements to the Gilimino 12.6 with that 31 inch width and 12 foot 6-inch length. So overall pretty good. Like it's a lot more twitchy for sure. So we're gonna try some tracking and see how that goes. One of the things I did want to touch on about the stability of this board is that if you're on a standstill or you're going slightly back, it is a little bit more, it feels a little more tippy, especially when you're trying to stand on the board. You got to kind of get your footing just right. So my recommendation is, just like a bike, keep the momentum going forward and you'll feel a lot more stable as soon as you stand up on this board. I don't really want to take any chances because it's like March in Canada. I don't really feel like taking a dip in this water, but regardless, on to tracking. All right, let's try some maneuverability with this board. Again, there's wind coming my way and a bit of tide, so ratings may not be 100% accurate, but we'll just get a general consensus about what this board can do here. So let's do reverse sweep strokes, 360. Okay, now. Five. Interesting. 5 reverse sweep strokes. Well, actually not too bad for a touring board. All right, let's see how many reverse side paddles to do a 360. We'll have the nose pointing to those boats over there. So let's start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, pretty good reverse side paddle rating. Now, having said that, the tide is coming in, so I did notice there were times where turning this board is a bit more of a struggle, and then times where it's a lot easier, just due to the movement of the water and a little bit of the wind. So it's not the most accurate reading, but at least it kind of gives you sort of an idea of what this board can do. I also had to kind of make sure that the paddle is outward a bit more to make sure it turned. So I had the paddle kind of out just like that. But overall, it's still a pretty good reading. Yeah. Lastly, let's do a bit of tracking, see how many strokes a side can do before we have to correct. Oh, hello ducks. So right now the tide is behind us, so we're kind of being pushed at a bit of a faster rate. Hence why also I'm probably gonna skip the speed test for today. But yeah, let's get started. So the dock is what we're kind of aiming for. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 9. Okay, so 9 that side. Let's just try the other way now. Get it straight a bit. Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I would make this about 8.5 strokes a side, which is actually pretty good. And it also, the reading doesn't entirely surprise me, just due to the board's narrower profile. And the single touring fin as well, which I find actually, it's a little bit thicker than some of the other touring fins I've used. So as we're just paddling around here, what are my final impressions of the Thursosurf Expedition 150? It definitely moves well in the water. Like, we'll try some faster strokes here. It moves good in the water. I actually really like the feeling of the paddle. Paddle has a nice sort of grip handle that really grips the hand nice. And I actually, grown to actually really like this paddle. The carbon feels smooth in your hands, which is pretty good. The board overall, I'd say it's a solid intermediate board. If you're a beginner, you can definitely use this board, but just know you're probably gonna fall into the water a time or two, or maybe probably more. But if that's okay with you, then it's a pretty good board to get. But overall, I'd say this is, just like the name entails, a good expedition board. Even if you look at the bungee deck rigging, it's a little bit longer. So this isn't ideal for a water bottle per se, but it is good for if you have bigger things like folded up tents, bigger dry bags, etc. So this is definitely a good board to go for longer distances. There's also some small bungee deck webbing in the back as well for smaller little items, maybe like a tiny little cooler, small little backpack, etc. So do I recommend this board? Yeah, depends what you're using it for. If you want to do an expedition, maybe even a multi-day trip, you're an intermediate paddler and you kind of want to upgrade from the all-around paddleboard realm, then this is a great board. People I wouldn't recommend using. Like I said, you can be a beginner, but not the best. It's definitely not like a SUP yogi board. It's not a board for like fishing, etc. And it shouldn't be used as such or even compared as such. Overall though, I like this board. It's pretty good. If I was to compare it to the other touring boards, I'd say maybe I like my Nixie Manhattan G4 a little bit more. Just because it's a little bit more to kind of like my style, but this board is still pretty good. I was a fan, and I think for Expedition setup, this is an excellent board. Thanks for watching my video onboard review of the Expedition 150. I'm Derek from Inflatable Stuff Authority. If you want to buy this paddleboard, I'd really appreciate it if you did go into the bio and checked it out through the affiliate links. I get a commission from it, but it's not an extra cost to you, which is always good. If you want to see more content, subscribe to my channel. Like if you thought it was helpful, in case you're thinking of getting this board. And yeah, hopefully see you on the water. Cheers.